So hi everyone, welcome back to our Fireside Chats. I'm here again with Angelica. Hello, Angelica.
Hey.
Well, it's brilliant. So today we've got a topic that we want to talk about, and this is kind of like relating to, I guess the entire endeavor that we are pulling off here. And the idea here is, Angelica, I've got a question for you, and that is data literacy. What the heck is it all about? So what is the gist of it? Why data literacy, and why is it important? Why did we do all this?
Why are we doing this? Because people, we would like that people will use the beautiful graphs, tables, reports, because they want to, not because they have to. So, and data literacy, I think, is, from my opinion, it's the ability to be able to work with the insights created from data. It's not only about the way that you have to create a graph or a visualization, but actually, for me, it's the second part, that you are willing to learn how visualizations work and how you can analyze through data to achieve effectiveness and efficiency. Sorry, I have to do it correctly.
So would you say that data literacy is like obviously out there's like tons of material on data literacy and why it's important, all of this. So, but what I want to make sure is that people who are engaging with data literacy Geek understand what our take on that entire vocabulary and the understanding of what that term means and what it kind of like embodies for us. So what you said in the beginning, I think, is quite important, right? Because this is something that we agree on very firmly, which is that data literacy, or at least like analytics and the entire like thing about like generating value and insights from data, is something that people will ultimately do in that current world, right? So we're not currently talking about like data science, machine learning, AI, and all these things. I'm talking about like hands down business and data analytics and these things. And this is kind of like where we want data literacy, right? We need people to engage with data and the analytics and visualizations, all that stuff coming out of data, right? Because I would assume that if like we have a machine that is supposed to do that automatically, they're hopefully like developed in a way that they're already data literate in a way. All right.
I don't know, maybe somewhere in the future it will be that a machine can make a decision for us. But I think from this moment on, I still think that people are necessary to make the decision, right? You can, from robotica perspective, you can have some suggestions, but a man or a woman needs to make the decision and check if the decision is good. As I was working with a project, this project group, they made some, with algorithms, they recognized eye diseases based on image material, and did some algorithm around it with Google TensorFlow and fantastic things. And they were able to recognize 34 eye diseases, but still a person, an eye doctor needs to make the decision. Yes, this is the correct thing. Thank you for letting me show it in this direction, but definitely this is the disease that we identified. So I don't think machine can take yet a decision.
I think this is actually a valid point, and this is kind of like akin to what Donald Farmer, for example, is saying, right? That he says, I don't like the term business intelligence. I think it's something, I hope I'm like quoting him correctly here. It's more like decision support, right? So it's you have someone who's utilizing data, visualizations, analytics tools to put a stronger fundament under the decision that he's supposed to make, right? And I think machine learning and data science, in a way, today is a way to extend that, right? So you can put more data underneath that decision, because you have an algorithm who will interpret some of that data for you and then give you a huge aggregated like view of more underlying data to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
So, but this is kind of like not what we wanted, to speak about, because we were all about like that people bit, right? So you want to put people at the center of that entire story of data analytics And data literacy, in a way, is a skill, right, that somebody has that is engaging in the field of analytics to make good decisions and enhance their operational excellence or whatever based on data that they analyze by being data literate. Or
I think that no, that I don't. That's a very good question, dear Boris. Now I think you need people to on your ship to travel, right? You need people within your organization that be able to narrate, to discuss, to design, to analyze, inform. People need all those how do you call them in English? Skills to be able to make data support driven decision, right? Or insight driven decisions. That's another topic we could discuss hours about. You cannot be driven by data, only by insights, and analyze them. So you need the people in various ways, because I truly believe that not one person could do all, right? You need the community to work together, and everybody has his own strengths to do things and help people to make the decisions. But data literacy, I think, it's more like a whole, right? Like data literacy is the whole skill set, and it's not necessary to have all the bits and the bytes, right? If we talk in computer language, but like the ball of influence from Tracy and Wiersema, you know, about operational excellence and being the best and customer intimacy. But you have to have a certain part of something, but it would be very nice if you accelerate in especially one thing, right? Like you building your beautiful Lego dashboard and me designing a graph, for example, because I am more from the front end part and not from the back end part. So I think, and that group that needs to work thoroughly together, and that mass of people is the data literacy community within an organization, from my opinion.
So what is data literacy then? Is that like, so from what you've described just now, is it like a set of skills that people have who make decisions or collect like data and all these things, right? So
yeah, I think so too.
So I'd like to challenge you with a question, right? So let's assume, so because, so we know that, or we're saying, and you and me both, right? So we're on the same page with this. Just buying a business intelligence tool, for example, and then expecting people to start making data-driven decisions is not going to happen, right? So this is not how it works, right? So if you and I were just like given an app and said, yeah, so this is going to change the way that you work, that you live, and it's going to make everything better, and you're just going to sit there and say, all right, that's nice. So I'll just go back to what I've been doing because that's been working pretty well as well, you know? And I think this is also like a reason why we, at least I did during my time as a business intelligence consultant, you know, so you go somewhere, you do like a click, at least I was a click consultant, right? A click project, and then everybody's happy, you know, you built like an amazing application, build an amazing dashboard, shows you all the numbers, and then you leave. And then they go and export everything to Excel, right? And then they're not using the application, right? Yeah, but so why is that? Is that because they're not data literate?
No, as I say to my students as well, using Excel and make reports is also business intelligence or data-driven or insights-driven decision making. No, I think Excel is here to stay for sure, definitely. And yes, my experience is to right mouse click, transport to Excel. I just did it this afternoon to check my values from my COVID-19 application because there are some weird figures. But to analyze, but no, I think that the biggest mistake that we all together from commercial firms make is that we deliver a dashboard and say, bye, good luck, success. And we forget the implementation. We forget to help them to understand what they are looking at, how they can click, how they can use the filters or whatever, and understand which use cases they can answer. Mm. That's only about 4 hours instruction. And from there, the journey should go. I think we tend to forget always the implementation part of delivering a project and say good luck, but that will not work.
Yeah, and I think it's even more complicated than that, right? Because I would say that just like delivering the tool, the technology, and then upskilling the people with data literacy knowledge is not going to suffice either, right? Because with the way that we understand data literacy, you know, like creating or giving people the ability to read, understand, create, and communicate with data will not change the way they behave, right? Giving them the tool and giving them the skills to use the tool is not making them want to use the tool.
They would have to get excited. So come in my classroom, and I will make you excited.
Yeah, and I think this is a very, very valid and very important point, right? Because it's not only about, you know, deploying like data literacy training and giving them training in how to use, let's say, ClickSense, Tableau, Power BI, I don't know what. This is not going to change the way that they answer questions within their everyday lives. You know, one or two of these guys, they might get it, or they will probably get it. I think everybody gets it, but they will not, you know, understand what happens. And I think most of that stuff is like cemented in the culture, right? In the way that like people are taught how to approach problems. You know, you have scientists, you have people who are familiar and who like the scientific method, right? So they observe something in their environment. So this could be in sales, right? So my customers are behaving in a strange way, and they're forming a hypothesis. So I think this might be because of, right? So then they think of, okay, so how could I test it? And I think this is when the true like data literate, data competent behavior starts, right? Because this is when you need to understand, so how can I measure this behavior or this model that I'm trying to understand, to detect within my everyday life, right? So this applies to your customers behaving weirdly, and then looking in sales data. That's the same thing with somebody is like, you know, knocking over my trash can outside of my house. I can start like to design an experiment so that I can measure data or collect data and then learn from that, right? So
that's why you need the inspirational stories in how to.
Yeah,
because people can look at a graph and they say, oh, it's a nice graph.
Yeah.
But what am I looking at? How can I analyze? And if you have good stories and you can show them just around that, you know, exception reporting is a fantastic way to grow. And just look at the exception, because when things go well, why should you look at them?
Yeah.
Maybe later, if you have everything in place and people are so happy that they can use the tool and work with data and analytics, and they are so excited that they want to work with it, from there you can start by analyzing and get other improvements. But you have to start somewhere to improve, and improvements you can make by looking at exceptions, things that need your attention, need to grab the attention. So there's a part also. I think there is not only the way that you are working within a company with dashboards and reports, but it's also in the visualization way, in the way of interacting with your dashboards, because we would love both that people desperately want to work with dashboards and reports, but unfortunately that's not the way. And the main question is, and maybe we should talk with other people about that as well, how can we engage? And we try with dataliteracygeek.com, we try to engage people to get overexcited about the topic that is about analyzing data. It's about being critical. It's about being curious. It's about improvements. It's about getting into action and do fact-based decision making. But yeah, we have a way to go, darling.
Yeah, I think, and this is a valid point, and this is kind of like what I wanted to or what I wanted to like develop with you today is like this exact thing that you've just said, right? So this is what we're about at dataliteracygeek.com. It's not about like teaching people of how to use which sort of like visualization to use when, and which kind of graph to use when, and which kind of tool to use when. It's about like getting inspired and fired up about like the opportunities that you have in your everyday life. Could be professional, could be personal, by understanding that you can apply the scientific method. I'm a scientist, you know that, but I think this is something that is really important for everybody to like to integrate, right? To start making fact-based decisions based on like data that you either collected by designing an experiment that you formed to generate that data to understand how something in your world works, or from data that has been generated just by the world happening. You know, this is kind of like the data that we engage with every day, right? So we're not in the sensor business, when currently not creating like systems that generate that data for us, right? But we just look at things that are reflections of what's happening in the real world, right? And I think this is important to understand, right? So just increasing data literacy within a company is not going to change anything, just like just buying a business intelligence tool is not going to change anything. You need to make the people, or help the people within the company understand how this is beneficial to them, how this is not going to overwhelm them, and how this is going to change how they work in a better way, right? And I think this is the same with every kind of technology. And I think this is like also one of the mistakes that many people are still making, is that they went from deploying technology and tools to then deploying training without context, right? So you don't really understand what you need these skills for, and you might understand what you're supposed to do, but you don't really know how that translates to your everyday life.
Yeah,
and
that's what I do when I go to a company and give a training about getting inspired to work with data, because the session is called the lights on session. It's getting inspired to go on the journey to work with insights created from data. And Lampje, we discussed it before, but I don't know the German or the English name anymore. But you know, he's from Billy Wortel. I don't know who he is in English as well. But you know, it's just getting the lights on, that people are starting to get curious and that they want to work with insights created from data. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do with the Get Inspired sessions. And first of all, when I do it for a company, the first thing I do is get some hours into the website, find reports of that company, try to get information. How are they doing? What are they doing? Where they are looking at? What is their core business? And how can I get their goals into my story? And that's how it works, folks. Yeah, that's how it works.
All right. So I think we've spoken about most of the things that we connect to that entire idea of what dataliteracygeek.com is about, right? So how would you summarize it, just for someone who doesn't really want to watch like an entire 20-minute video about it, just in just in a few words? Just in a few words. What would you say?
Summarize. Oh, that's a bit difficult because we discussed a lot. I think it's about curiosity. It's about being ready and being able to learn how to work with insights created from data. It's about fact-based decision making. It's about exceptions, looking at them. It's about getting into action, and that people want to work with insights from data. And I think that's our main goal as we look at the dataliteracygeek.com platform. And we don't want to do it with the two of us, right? We want the community to do it with us. So it's for the people, with the people. And I hope in the coming weeks, people will join us in this conversation about data literacy, insight-driven, decision, fact-based. We have Donald on board. We have David Bolton on board. We have Joe Warpington willing to discuss it with us. Marcel, your colleague, he is also about data literacy and he wants to join. So guys, if you look at this, please join us in the conversation, and we can do it even with 4 or 5 people, and I will just moderate and keep hush.
That's fantastic. Well, not you keeping hush, but the idea to get others on here and then spread their or share their idea and then inside of that entire thing. Yeah. No, well, I think we're where we wanted to get with our little chat here. So thanks for your time again, Angelica, and looking forward to speaking again with you and a couple of other people.
Yeah, I hope so. So
right.
We talk every day, by the way. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks for watching.
Take care. Bye, my friend.
Yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, and any feedback, anything that you want to let us know down in the comments, either on the website or on
in
YouTube.
The comments.
It's gonna be fine.
Stay safe, healthy, and please, guys, be careful out there. Yeah.
That's right.
All right.